What is going on YouTube? It's your boy NevinTheBarber and I'm back again with another barber tutorial. In today's video I'm going to be covering a blurry mid fade for you guys using only 2 guards. So first things first, I went ahead and set my first foundation guideline in, and I'm going to follow this guideline right here using no guard, lever all the way open on my Gamma Rogue clippers. So I'm now going to be cutting the hair down to a 0.5 length right here, and I'm bringing this guideline up about 1 inch right above my trimmer guideline. And I'm not going to blend that guideline out into the end, so I'm going to follow this guideline using the 1.5 guard all the way closed, and the clipper is now cutting the hair down to a 1.5 guard length. So we have our trimmer guideline, our 0.5 guideline, and our 1.5 guard guideline. And I'm following that guideline, doing some clipper over comb into the parietal ridge. That way I can blend straight up into the bulk without using the 2 guard or the 3 guard. And I'm just coming back down with the grain of the hair just to blend that bulk into the 1.5. And now that I have that 1.5 guideline blended into the parietal ridge, I can come back and erase that middle guideline using my blur guard, lever all the way open. So now the clipper is cutting the hair down to a 1.5 guard length, and that's what I really like about this blur guard right here. If you angle it properly on the scalp, you can actually cut all the way up to the 1.5 guard, and when the lever is closed, it'll cut down to the half, just like your basic half guard. And I'm basically just closing the lever 1 notch at a time, and every time I close that lever, I'm just going to be sure to shorten my cutting stroke as I attack that middle section. And just be patient with it. Some of your clients may have thicker hair than others, and you do want to pay attention to the growth pattern of the hair as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and erase that final guideline using no guard, lever all the way closed. So the clippers here are cutting the hair down to a 00 length. And now I'm just going to gradually open that lever, attacking any last dark areas that I see at the start of the fade. And I really like this fading system right here because you guys won't find yourself struggling to blend out that last skin line, and you also won't push up your fade as long as you do these steps correctly. Now that the fade's complete, I'm gonna go ahead and create the C-cups as well as the vertical bars on my client's edge up. And these are the Gamma Flex trimmers right here. If you guys want to save some money on them, feel free to use my code NEVIN10 on the Gamma website to get a discount on your entire purchase. And I'm just gonna begin erasing all of the bulk with my trimmers. And you guys can see how these trimmers effortlessly took off all the bulk without snagging or causing no irritation to my client's skin. And I'm just gonna follow up that stubble using the Gamma Rebel foil shaver. And this is just cutting all that stubble down to the skin. That way I can get the cleanest transition possible and really make that fade pop out from the skin to the stubble to the hair. And I'm just following up that guideline with my trimmers, ensuring that I flick the skin line into the stubble. And now I'm gonna do some shear over comb, just ensuring that the top of my fade has a nice clean transition into the crown of my client's head. And I'm just rolling that comb off at a 90-degree angle from my client's parietal bone. That way I don't cut any unnecessary hair in the crown area. And you guys can see how much of a difference it made just by me doing some shear over comb up into the crown area. And now that I have the fade complete, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my client's edge up. So first things first, I went ahead and took the 1.5 guard all the way closed, and I'm cutting the hair with the grain. That way I can knock all those flyaways down to an even length, and my client's hairline will come out that much crispier. It's very important that you guys knock all of those flyaways down to a 1.5 guard length or a 1 guard length. That way there's no hairs overflowing where the lineup should be. And now that I have the left side of the fade complete, I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same exact steps on the right side of my client's head. So as always, I'm going to go ahead and set in that foundation guideline with my trimmers. And I'm going to follow this guideline up using no guard lever all the way open. So the clippers are cutting the hair down to a 0.5 length. And you guys want to make sure to bring this up about 1 inch. That way you have enough space to blend it out. And now I'm going to go ahead and follow that guideline using the 1.5 guard all the way closed. And again, this is cutting the hair down to a 1.5 guard length. And I'm just going to follow that up, doing some clipper over comb, leaving that same guard on. And like I said, the whole purpose of this step right here is to eliminate you guys using the 4 guard, the 3 guard, and the 2 guard. You'll save some time just blending up into the parietal ridge bone. Just like I said, make sure you're rolling that comb out and make sure you leave the guard on. And to erase the middle guideline, I'm using the blur guard with the lever all the way open. And I'm just gonna gradually start to close that lever and shorten my cutting stroke as needed. Always remember, every time you guys close the lever, the hair is gonna be getting cut at a little bit more of a shorter length. So just keep that in mind whenever you guys are doing lever play and detailing out any dark areas you see in the fade. Right here I have the lever almost all the way closed, and I'm just attacking that middle guideline, ensuring that it has a nice clean transition into the 1.5. And I'm just using the corner of my blade when doing this. I personally like to just use the corner when it comes to blending and detailing the fade, just because you can get a much more precise cut rather than using the full blade on your client's scalp. And finally, I'm going to come in with no guard lever all the way closed, and I'm just going to attack that last guideline, blending the 0 into the 0.5. And I'm just gradually opening my lever this time, opening my cutting stroke, flicking out any last dark areas I see in the fade. And like I said, this is a very, very efficient fading technique right here. As long as you guys are applying these steps correctly, you can use this fading system on any haircut. And this is the 1.5 guard right here. I'm just attacking all the little flyaways on my client's hairline. That way they're flush to his scalp before I go over and hit him with the trimmers. And when I do my lineups, I always like to start off with the C-cups and the vertical bars. That way I can just come back and get a nice, clean, straight, crispy line in the front. And if you guys have learned anything in this tutorial, please be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do drop weekly barber tutorials for beginners and or advanced barbers that are just willing to elevate their game or try out new fading techniques. And for the final part in this haircut, I'm just removing all the bulk with the Gamma Flex trimmers. And you guys can see how effortlessly that hair is just falling off of my client's scalp. And I'm just following up that stubble using the Gamma Rebel shaver, just to ensure that all that stubble got cut down to the skin, and so my client's haircut can last and be fresh for as long as possible. And I'm just going over that guideline with my trimmers, ensuring that I flick the stubble into the fade. And I'm just going over my lineup one more time, ensuring that all the hairs are in place and that my client has the sharpest edge up possible. And now to begin my razor work. Whenever I use my razor, I always like to stretch the skin and bring the razor up against the grain of the hair. And basically what that means is that the razor blade is just cutting the hair in the opposite direction that it's growing out of the scalp. And when you guys cut the hair against the grain with the razor blade like this, it'll not only make the haircut last longer, but it'll also make it pop and look that much sharper as well. And just going over that line one more time with my trimmers, ensuring that I can get this haircut as clean as possible. I do always like to go back and double check my work. But that is about it for today's haircut tutorial. If you guys learned anything in the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. But it's been your boy Nevin the Barber, and I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one.